Well, hello out there in YouTube land. So I'm preparing for the Imbolc ritual that my group is going to do tomorrow. We sometimes celebrate our Sabbats on the weekends, just so people who work, have an opportunity to go, and it doesn't really conflict with people's work schedule. This year Imbolc falls during the week, so to have ritual, during the week would be kind of conflicting. So we're having ritual over at a friend's house, and what I'm going to do is just create a little craft, and this craft is going to travel with me, and then I'll be able to give it to the members of my group. In our tradition, whenever we do a Sabbat ritual, everybody brings a little something, a little piece to add to the ritual, and we often do it as a surprise. We don't tell each other, what everybody else is bringing, and then it's kind of like this. We think of them as gifts. This is my gift to you all. So I'm kind of crafty. So here's my gift, and I thought I would share it with you all. I didn't practice this video, and it might sound a little rambling, but I thought you'd all like to come along and check out this Imbolc craft. So what I have here are these little seed starting pots, and you can actually, they're Jiffy pots. I have no idea if this is getting in the camera or not, but they're biodegradable. So you start your plants in here, and then you can just plant the whole pot in the dirt. You actually, you typically peel off the bottom. They get all kind of moist and nasty anyway. You peel off the bottom and stick it in the dirt, and then your plant kind of grows out of it. So these are super cheap at the garden store. I got this whole big bunch of them. I got 26 of them, and I think they were like $1.30 or something like that. So really inexpensive. And I'm going to be preparing 12 of these, which I think is about the number of people who are going to be there. So there's going to be 12 of these little pots, and I'm just putting them in this tray. So for two reasons. One, what I'm doing with these, I'm actually going to end up freezing them, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And two, just so I don't get dirt and stuff all over my table and wherever. This is kind of where I do all my potting and planting anyway. So it's not really a big deal, but just to be a little cleanly. So I have my little Jiffy pots here, and I have my soil. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill my little pots with soil. And so while I'm doing this, I'll talk a little bit about what this craft is all about. So what these are going to be are little mini take-home rituals. So this is probably not something we're going to do in ritual tomorrow. I mean, we might, but most likely we're not going to. So this will be something that people can take home, and sometimes we do that. We get, we affectionately call it homework. And sometimes, after a ritual, you want to take home those lessons from that ritual and really, work them into your life. So by doing, the homework or the, just having something to take home from ritual is really nice, because it kind of extends that ritual experience out into, your day-to-day life or your life away from the group. It helps to, strengthen personal practice. And one of the things that my group is all about is about bringing ritual and personal practice to people who attend our events. So this event is mostly for the planning committee of our group. So that's why I'm only making 12 of these, but they're going to be kind of little take-homes. So I'm filling these with dirt, and here's the reason why. When I think about Imbolc, I think about it kind of in two parts. The first thing is, I look out at the natural world, and this is kind of how I meditate on all of my Sabbats. I look and see what the natural world is doing, and I kind of look for the big lesson there. So these are two-part little mini rituals, and here's the first part. You look out at the natural world right now, and the earth is kind of frozen. And at Imbolc time, we have times where it's really warm and it feels like spring, and then we'll have time where it's super duper cold and ice and snow all over the place. And in between, we have rain and mush and slush, and it's kind of nasty and gross out and gray. But the earth is already beginning to stir, because in those intermittent times, between snow and like spring-like weather, you start to see like little like grass seeds pop up. Yay, grass seeds! I don't know if you can see that in the video, but I have my little grasses here. Then you begin to see, like little tiny shoots of bulbs. In the next couple weeks, you'll see like the first little tiny shoots peeking up out of the ground. But right now, the earth's kind of like flip-flopping back and forth between this like frozen, hard land and land that's beginning to support new growth. And so, tomorrow in ritual, I'm going to talk about my little like gift part of to the group, just about what I feel like the earth is teaching us right now is that new beginnings and the start of things, sometimes they don't always happen smoothly. Like just like the earth flip-flops between dark, snowy, yuck, hard, frozen earth and smushy, slushy, messy mud that can support growth. Sometimes when we start things, we don't always, transition into them neat and tidily. So when we think about that, just like the earth doesn't start out, start new beginnings right away, kind of flip-flops back and forth, we can apply that to our lives. So like for instance, maybe you made a New Year's resolution. Imbolc is not too far from New Year's. And maybe you haven't really stuck to it. Like, maybe your New Year's resolution was that you're going to get up earlier every morning so that you can have some time of peace and solitude, and you're going to, like, meditate or something in the morning. And let's say that, right in the beginning of January, you totally stick to it. And after a while, you start hitting the snooze more and more and more. Well, at Imbolc time, it's a good time to renew your resolve, but also to forgive yourself from all that guilt from not sticking to that resolution. And I think that's the problem that a lot of people run into, is that they don't stick to things, which is one thing, but then they wind up, playing the guilt game because they're so upset that, that they haven't done this thing, and then they wind up falling out of their intention. So, if we take a look at what the earth's doing, flip-flopping between frozen earth and mushy earth, we find out the beginnings are messy. They're mushy, and they're, they flip-flop back and forth, and a lot of the beginnings in our life are messy, Maybe they're not the smoothest transition. Maybe your intentions don't always go the way you plan. It doesn't mean that your intention's shot. It doesn't mean that you should give up. It just means that you're in a messy start. So here's what I'm going to do with these little cups. Now that I've got them filled, I'm going to take some water and I'm going to thoroughly saturate them. Now I know I haven't planted anything in here, but there's a point to this. And the point is that I'm making frozen earth. So eventually, what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to put them in the freezer, and I'm going to let them harden. And I'm going to take them to the party in a cooler, and when I give them to my friends, and after I talk about, messy starts, when they take them home, when we take these home, we're going to think about, what messy start am I in? And what things am I willing to begin, even if I think that the beginning is going to be messy? And also, another way to meditate on these little frozen earth cups is, what in your life is frozen? What have you locked away? What have you, buried deep inside, and then you've let, the outside world, the cold circumstances around you freeze up? Because, if we think of our intentions as seeds, we can't have frozen earth to plant seeds in. We have to loosen up and unlock and unfreeze all that potential that we have so that our intentions have a good and hospitable place to grow. So I'm thoroughly saturating these. I'm actually going to let them hang out while I do the second part of this craft so that they suck up all that water that's down in that tray. And then I'm going to stick them in the freezer. And then tomorrow when I take them out, I'll put a little bow or something on them, like decorative, or maybe a little sticker. I love the stickers. So I'm going to let those hang out for a little bit. So again, these represent the frozen earth. You know, messy starts, freeze and unfreeze. So, you know, you can take these home and think about, you know, what do I have frozen inside of myself? What have I locked away? What's not accessible right now, but I know is buried under the surface? And then what they can do, or what we can do, what I'm going to do is with mine, so I'm going to take it out for a while as I meditate on those things and as I try to manifest that piece of myself. And, you know, when I have a messy start, when I, you know, fall off my, you know, intention wagon, I'll put it back in the freezer and let it freeze back up. You know, I'll wet it, I'll put it back in the freezer, let it freeze back up, and take it back out again. But every time I see it in the freezer, I'm going to be reminded of my intention. So that's the cut portion of this. So this is part 1, and I'm going to stop the video now, and then I'll do part 2, and you'll see the second half of this.